All right. Welcome everyone to Keller Williams. Um, there's tons of pizza in the back. No one will be offended if you get up at any time that we're talking and go and get pizza, get drinks, get anything you want. If you need the bathroom, it's around the corner. By the way, again, we won't be offended. You don't have to raise your hand or anything. This isn't school. Maybe Chris in the back might have to. Uh, But we are just basically here to help you. So if you don't know who I am, it's because I didn't invite you. But we are all in real estate. There's a lot of agents here. We kind of put this on together so we can group together our knowledge. There's a couple of us presenting tonight, and we're ending with the main act. Is that what we're going to call you, Jake? The lender, because that's usually where most people get hung up when buying homes. So before we get going, though, I want to know if I can click. Why'd you come today? What do you want to know about? Why'd you come? We'll make Jake write them all down. What do you want to know about? Why are you here? Someone's got to go first.
Wanted to be me? Yeah.
Wanted to meet Jake. Okay. What else? Any questions? Any thoughts? What was that? Get out of renting. Yes. It's the best thing ever. Yeah, some of you might have been forced here by your agent friend. That's an okay answer too.
Afford something bigger.
Can I afford something bigger? Affordability. That is the name of the game right now. What else? Any questions that you would be like, we need this answered? Okay.
Say like, when's the right time to?
Ooh, yes. When's the right time to buy? It's one of my favorite questions. Okay, McKay, now you can talk.
I would say that find out information correct to potential buyers you have.
Yeah,
But
we have tons of good information. Love it. Okay, we'll cover all of those. So here's how it's gonna, oh. Yes, pre-approval. Make a mental note of that, Jake. That's what you need to talk about.
Also noted here.
Okay, perfect. Here's how it's going to work. At any point, you can ask questions, and I love questions. So ask all that you want. Now, avoid asking way super specific questions. If you're like, hey, I have this one thing, I sell bunnies on the side, does that count as income? That might be a very personal question because I don't know anyone that does that. That's why I use it as an example. And that might just derail everyone else. And they're like, the bunny guy's talking again. So if you have something super specific, we're going to hang out after. You can talk to your agent friend. Jake is here. You can reach out to him. If you have a question that you're like, well, more than one person probably is thinking the same thing. Or maybe this is a dumb question, but it's not just specifically to me. Raise your hand, call it out. We can work on answering that question for you at any time. Okay. So, kind of what we're going to go over today, just so you know why we're here. Pizza in the back. That's number one. That's what we're doing. Specs and pizza. We're going to talk about pros of owning, why you should even own a house over renting. Buy now versus wait. Kind of talk about that timing aspect, the whole process of buying a home, and why you should use an agent, or if you should. And then we'll turn the time over to Jake to talk everything lending, and that's where questions can come out. So why own? There is a ton and ton of reasons why people want to own a home, like emotionally own a home. Like it's so nice. Like if you look at that wall and you're like, that wall is the wrong color. You know what? If you own a home, you get to paint it that day. Or more likely, if you're like me and my wife, you get to paint half of that wall today and then never finish painting that wall. If you're like, you know what? I don't like that I have a door here. You just take that door off. You want a barn door? Boom, put up a barn door. You can do whatever you want. If you want to have a party with way too many people, no one's going to tell you not to, except for maybe your neighbors. You open up your world, but there's a few little tangible things on why it's great to own a home. So, number one, equity building. So every time that you make a mortgage payment, you actually are paying down part of your mortgage. So you are paying off some of your mortgage. It's almost like a forced savings account every single time that you make a mortgage payment. So by the time you go to sell your house, you have paid down a bunch of your mortgage and you can use that into your next house or retirement or whatever else you need to do. Appreciation. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, but on average, homes in Utah have appreciated 6% over the last like 25, 30 years. So what that means is if you own a house, the next year it's 6% more expensive. And you know what you need to do to achieve that 6%? Own a home, nothing else. On average, you'll get 6% every single year. So you are just getting like equity from a house just because you own it. So for example, if your home is worth 500,000, which is right around like the median home price, that's like $30,000 a year. That's like getting a decent part-time job or a decent full-time job for some people. And you will get that just by owning a house. Next, tax benefits. You get to actually write off some things on your taxes, like your interest is tax deductible. So you actually get to pay less taxes because you own a home. You definitely don't get to do that renting. All of these, by the way, compound. If you get rental properties, we can nerd out on that later, but we'll get you here first. And then stable payments. When you get a mortgage, most mortgages, by the way, there's some that aren't, are the exact same payment every single month for 30 years. So your payment does not change. You get to have the same payment. You won't have like a landlord that decides, you know what? Rents should be more expensive now. I'm going to raise rents. Your mortgage company cannot do that. The one thing that changes, there's two things that change are taxes and insurance, and those are always going up, but they also go up for renters too. If you want renter insurance as a renter, you need to do that. So rent usually goes up like 3% every single year. What's cool though is like, let's say you got an interest rate now, we're about 6% today. If interest rates go down, you can refinance and actually have a cheaper house payment. Who has ever had rent where their landlord came to them and like, hey, you know what? Things changed in the market and now I'm actually going to charge you less rent. Like that never happens in the history of rent. Maybe you'll have to move somewhere for something like that. So very great reasons to own a home. This is my favorite one. I'm a nerd about net worth. So owners of homes have almost a 40-time greater net worth just by owning a home, right? Renters are about $10,000 on average. We're almost $400,000 for home owners. So if you one day want to retire and not work, imagine having $400,000 in your net worth that you could use for those kind of things rather than a renter, 10,000, that's not going to get you very many months of retirement. So this is the key to greater net worth is owning real estate. Okay, so buy versus wait. I want your opinions. Is now a good time to buy a house? No real estate agents, wait, no real estate agents. If you're a real estate agent, you can't answer this because some real estate agents are like a hammer and everything looks like a nail. So the answer is always yes. But I wanna hear real life people. What do you think? Is it a good time to buy right now? Yes. Okay, all you real estate agents out there, look at your friends that say yes and agree with them. I think it's a great time to buy a house. Not just because I'm a hammer as well, but because there has never been really a bad time to buy a house. Let me show you what I mean. So this is a fancy chart. I'm a very visual person. This is the percent of change in a home price over year over year. So you'll notice we go way back to 1959 and home prices went below zero. That means they actually went backwards in 1959. We had Eisenhower recession, they called it. I don't even, you don't learn about that one. Maybe you learn about it in school. I don't remember learning about it. We got real close in 73. We actually didn't go backwards there. Then again, we got real close to with another recession. In 1991, savings and loan crisis. I actually know about that one. Maybe it's because I was alive. We went backwards 2.15%. That's all that home prices went down. Then we had the Great Recession, right? The housing bubble. We went backwards a whole bunch. This is the one everyone remembers and thinks, well, maybe there'll be a time like this where home prices go backwards. Recently, we had this one where we went backwards 0.43%, not even a full percentage. So that means if your average house price was $100,000, which it's not, the worst it's ever been is home prices got $12,000 cheaper or $400 cheaper. No, 4,000. I don't know. I'm bad at zero math. Home prices don't tend to go down ever. So those people that are like, I'm going to wait for home prices to drop, they are literally waiting for the worst recession that we've had since the 1920s. Like the 100-year kind of cycles of home prices going backwards is what they're hoping for. If you were to look at this chart, you would say that's probably not going to happen for a long time. So if you want to wait for home prices to go down, you might be waiting forever. So don't wait, because even after it went backwards, look how far they went up. This, it took a little bit longer because the housing crisis, like loans on houses caused houses to go down. It was like a problem within a problem within a problem. But then when it got solved, poof, we went up and we stayed up, and then we went way up. We went 21% on average. Isn't that crazy? So that $100,000 house, if you bought it here and then wrote it up, that's 20 grand that you would have made in 1 year just by owning a house. These were real numbers, and this is stats for it. So this is Utah, just so you can kind of see, like that last one's national. We're a little bit different. I don't have as much data on that, but back to 2004, we've kind of averaged right around that 6%. So we've gone backwards. This is the 2008. We didn't go as far backwards. Home prices went down, but not as much. But then they jumped up pretty quickly. We kind of went stable, and then we went crazy for a little bit. We had a 5.1% drop rather than the nation of 0.4, and then we were right back up to it. So home prices in Utah aren't even going down. They've twice in the last 20 years that they've done that. So not a bad time to buy a house. By the way, if you happened to buy a house in the very worst time, like if you bought here and then it went backwards, by the time we hit 2012, it actually was back to your same price that you bought it for. So even though it doesn't look like it maths out, real life mathed out. You had to wait till 5 years from buying it in the very peak to ride it all the way down and ride it all the way back. So if you're going to live somewhere for 5 years, historically the worst time ever to buy a house, 5 years gets you there perfectly. So here's what it looks like in real life. Let's say you buy like a condo or a townhome. I was literally looking at houses today that cost around this. Where was I looking? Who was here looking with me? McKay, Chris, Shaylee. Where was that house? Spanish Fork? Brandy was there. Mapleton. There was a Mapleton townhome we were looking at. It was a little bit more than this, but we were thinking we could probably get it for around this price. So let's say you paid this one in year 1. So if we just keep kind of our average appreciation of 6.5, we're going to jump up to almost $400,000 after year 1. Year 2, 424, all the way to the end. We end up making $129,000 over 5 years. So imagine that. Imagine I said, hey, renters, you get to live in my house. You're going to pay me rent. You have to live there for 5 years, but when you move out, I'll give you $130,000. Like, wouldn't every renter be like, yes, by the way, I'll take care of it. I'm going to mow the lawn perfectly. I'm never going to miss a payment. Like, you're going to love me as your renter. Like, that's what we're saying for homeowners. Like, here's $130,000 after you live there for 5 years. These are average numbers. And I know some people might be like, well, what if it's not as good? Let's follow a not as good example. Let's just do 3%. So you buy a little bit cheaper. Year 1, boom, We're walking it all the way up. We only end up at 405. Your equity ends up at $55,000. So same scenario. If I told you you live here for 5 years and then I'll give you 55 grand, you're gonna be like, I make 10 grand a year just by living. Perfect. I'm gonna do that. Plus, you get to pay down your rent or your mortgage. You get tax benefits, the joys of home ownership. So financially, it always seems to make sense. So let's talk about where to start. You want this?
Sure. Yeah, I'll take this. All right. Sweet. Well, he really is a numbers guy, and it's really fun to talk with him. I'm also very visual, and so it's very helpful. So, where do we go? We're gonna explore the what? Oh yeah. Hi guys, I'm Caden Smith. That guy in the red shirt that asked me my name, that's my dad. Yes, I'm Caden Smith. I've been here with KW for just over 4 months. It's been really fun. I absolutely love being a realtor. Honestly, it's great. So let's explore the roadmap. That's the wrong way. All right, explore the roadmap. Here's the roadmap. We're gonna go through all of these, and there you go. Because Cameron doesn't trust me to do anymore, so that's the roadmap. Accept. So let's go pre-approval. It's a dry crowd. I'm sorry. I try to be funny, but no one ever laughs. Thank you. So pre-approval, and we're gonna go over this more with Jake, right? That was one of the things over there. Essentially, that's just you meet with your lender. It can take a day, less than a day, even depends on how prepared you are, how in depth it is. I also have my lender back there that I've talked with, and they give you an estimate, or it's pretty spot on estimate of how much you can afford. So you go in, you either over the phone or in person, whatever, you meet with your lender, you give them the documentation, you find out how much you can afford, and then they give you this letter, get pre-approval letter. So then you can take that house shopping. And then we'll get into that more, show, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, can afford a home that's $450,000. So then let's look at that range and a little bit under. And number one and number two, they're honestly kind of interchangeable when you do them. Meet with the agent first or meet with the lender first. It doesn't matter to me. It does matter to some realtors. What we'll do is we will review your home ownership process. We will go over what is called a buyer consultation. This is what mine looks like. I put together. I've taken pages from someone else's and then added my own in there. Just going over the simple processes of what it looks like to. Well, we'll go over this whole process here. Really, the ownership process, how it looks like to work with us as the realtor. And during that, we set up a customized home search. With the MLS, we can get super specific, and it's really fun to do home searches for people. And this is a new national law. It went into effect, the beginning of this year or like a year ago, where in order for a realtor, and we're in a national law, right, to show you a home, you have to sign a buyer broker agreement or BBA. It's not that scary. You can fire us anytime you want. You don't like us? Fire us. So you get that buyer broker agreement signed. You've gone over home ownership process. You know what that looks like now. So let's do the fun part. This is the fun part. We get to look at homes and we get to make offers. That's great. I currently have not signed any of my own clients, but I am working on a deal with another agent down in Cedar City. I was able to drive down there and show them houses. I've showed houses for other agents up here in Utah County and Salt Lake County. It is so fun to tour homes. And then when you find the one that you like, the one that you want, it's in your price range, you're all good, then you make an offer. And inside that offer, the real estate purchase contract, or Rep C, there's some things, there's always things that you can negotiate. If you ever have someone in the real estate game tell you, oh, this is non-negotiable, they're probably lying. So just push them more or fire them and get a different one. So things that you can negotiate, the price, right? The move-in date, additional property. This is like the appliances, right? The fridge, the washer, the dryer, the stove. Those things are always negotiable. If there's even more additional property, then that goes into an addendum and is a personal property sale, not part of the Rep C. That's a conversation for another day. And then there's also concessions. So this is fun. So concessions, these are things we write into the Rep C as your buyer agent, and we say, hey, when we buy this home, we want a home warranty that'll last a year, and we want you to pay for it. We're going to pick it, you pay for it. So this deal we're working on in Cedar City, we put in our Rep C. Hey, we want a home warranty. We're going to pick it. You're going to pay for it, up to $600. There's different levels of home warranty, right? So we wrote in $600, and they accepted it. It was awesome. So now we're going with IBEX, I believe it is, down there. Super fun. And then there are 3 options that the seller will do. Seller will accept. Seller will reject. Boo. Seller will counter offer. That's also good. This example at Cedar City, we actually got a counter offer. But the counter offer was just clarification. So they actually accepted everything that we asked for. It was just clarifying names and address, because apparently they gave us the wrong information when we wrote up this Rep C. All right. Offer accepted. This is called the due diligence period. This is a fun time, and this time is all for you as the buyer. This is the time where you really have to get to work, because it's only going to last 10 to 14 days. Usually around that time, 10 to 14 days, you got to get your home inspection to figure out anything in the house that you don't like. And if at any point during those 2 weeks, you're like, you know what? I don't like this. You can back out of the contract. It's great. Is there anyone in here that knows what earnest money is? That wants to explain to the class what earnest money is? Anyone that's not a realtor or previously purchased a home? All right, sounds good. So earnest money, huh? All right, sounds good. Well, I got some knowledge for you. Earnest money shows the seller that you're actually earnest about this purchase, right? And the normal rate is like 1% of the purchase price, or sometimes less, right? So right now, the earnest money for our home in Cedar City was $2,000. The purchase price is $188. We just brought it up to $2,000. But that earnest money is due and has to be put into escrow. That's a conversation for another day too. Within 4 days of the offer being accepted, and at any point during the due diligence period, you say, you know what? No, we're going to back out. You get the earnest money back. You don't need any explanation. You can just pull it out and you get that money back. Also during this time, like I said, do like home inspection. That's super important. We got a home inspection on this home, and there's major foundation issues. Like $20,000 worth of repair foundation issues that the seller is actually paying for. So that's going to be cool. So that's cool too. So yeah, negotiate repairs, resolve the issues. Next, we have the finance and appraisal. At this time, this is good. If you don't know what the appraisal is, it is a professional evaluation of the home's market value. This just helps save your butt and the sellers. It's helps protect the buyer and the lender mostly. If there's too much discrepancy, then that really opens the door for the buyer to back out or change negotiations on the purchase price. And the appraisal usually 500, 800 value. Oh, and the appraisal and the home inspection, can those come out of closing costs, or those are usually just out of the pocket of the buyer, right?
Sometimes the appraisal, Jake. You pay for the
Yeah,
inspection
so
for
you
sure.
pay for the inspection.
Right.
Depending on your lender or the situation, you could have the lender cover it up front and then it would be paid for at closing. Or you might have it collected up front as well. So those items, I usually tell buyers to plan on paying both of those things out of pocket. And then if we get into a situation where we need to kind of look at that and evaluate, we can do that on a case by case basis. The reason for that is because I'll stand up. The appraisers charge the lending companies up front for an appraisal. And so in the event that the deal doesn't work out, the lender doesn't want to be on the hook for the appraisal. So a lot of times you will have a lender collect that up front in the event that something does go south.
Thank you, Jake.
A lot of times people use concessions, right?
Yes.
That are negotiated
Yep.
at the offer. So
Yep.
money that the sellers are paying to the buyers will get and cover stuff like that.
Concessions are great, y'all. They're so good. Get those sellers to do everything you want. Cam told me to go quickly through this. And I feel like I'm going too quick, but he said that was a good thing if I feel like I'm going too quick. So anyways, but this last bullet point, I really want to stress majorly. Avoid making any major financial changes, new debt, change jobs. From the moment you talk to your lender and get that pre-approval, let's just be safe here, right? You're not in a contract, but once you get that pre-approval to now you have the keys in your hand, don't do anything major financially. Yes, sir.
Like, what I'm saying, like, is there a time period before you try to get pre-approval that you would want to take on new debt or change jobs, or?
Jake?
It's a great question, and it's going to depend on each person's situation. I would say if you have the thought that you're going to buy a home, whether that's weeks, months, or years in advance, talk to a mortgage person of some sort and have them give you kind of a roadmap on what you should or shouldn't do. But yeah, general rule of thumb is if you're preparing to buy a house, probably don't make any major financial changes if you can avoid it. If it's something that has to be done or you're not going to be able to avoid it, maybe just ask somebody, is this going to affect me in trying to buy a house in the coming weeks or months?
Rule of thumb that I have decided on for me is if you're ever in doubt, ask your lender. They'll walk you through it. Don't go buy that new car because you're excited. Hey, we got a house. Let's also get a car. You don't actually have the house yet. So don't buy that car. That's going to screw everything up. Anyways, do that. Don't. That's huge stressor. That'll break everything up. Now we get to the end. For my case, we are about 8 days away from settlement for my Cedar City thing, home, and that is exciting. There's a thing called the final walkthrough, 24 to 48 hours. Before the settlement, you as the buyer have the opportunity to walk through the house, do one final check, be like, okay, I like this, I don't like this, make sure everything's set up how, it's ready for the purchase. And of course, during the settlement, the closing, this is where you as the buyer and also the seller, you'll all sign these legal and financial documents. Funds will be distributed. Title is transferred. Make sure you come prepared, bring your ID and funds for closing. Or you have everything lined up with the title company and the lender so they can take care of all of that. And then, congratulations! You got yourself a house. You are now a brand new homeowner. How good does that feel? And you get all the tax benefits and you get all the other things that come with home owners. Sorry, Jake, there's actually one more thing for me to go over. Sit back. Just kidding. So before we move on to Jake, we want to talk about the value of your agent. Now this one, I do want some participation if we can get it. What are some values? What are some things that you think your agent, your buyer agent, should bring to the table?
Saving me time and effort. I don't want to be doing 500 hours of research, in the course of 2 months. That's something that they should be able to do for me.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Say like negotiation knowledge, how to negotiate with them.
Negotiation and save time and effort. McKay, did you have one?
Training.
You said training, tech, and tools. I love it. Yes. I love that. Spotting issues. That's really fun. Yes.
Clients
Mhm.
not do anything legally wrong or that will cost me tons of money to pay for them.
Yes. Compliance, make sure things are up to code, notice things. I love it. Anything from over here? You don't think the buyer agent should have any values? Nothing. Wow.
I would say connections.
You should sign with me then. No, just kidding. Say connections.
Yeah.
I love it.
Not just for during the process, but after, if there needs to be anything repaired, updated, upgraded, that sort of thing.
Yes, so good, so good. So let's look at the list that we have up here. Up here we have integrity and honesty, or integrity and honestry. See, spelling is not a value that you need as an agent, apparently. That's why we have attendance, that's right. Negotiation skills, communication skills, guidance and problem solving skills, and networking and connections. So you guys pretty much nailed them. And of course, there's lots of other things that you could, countless other values or topics that you could bring into this. Okay, you got a sneak peek at that slide. All right, so I am going to, so the next slide, if you got a good look at it, it looks like a Sudoku puzzle. It's a 3x3 grid with a bunch of numbers. I am going to set a timer for 10 seconds. And during those 10 seconds, I want you to try and find as many sequential numbers as you can, starting with 1, and then 2, and then 3. But we've all been through kindergarten, so we know how that goes. So I'll move to the next slide, and then I'll start the 10-second timer, and then I'll move back to this slide. Yes, mother, only 10 seconds. You're welcome. So, and go. Oops, that's 14. All right, I accidentally gave you 14 seconds. Okay, how high did we get? 9. Oh, nice. 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. Huh? 25? Oh, you've been through this before. Cheater. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Cool. So wasn't that just fun? Everything was just crazy in this grid. You can't find anything. So here's a value that we as agents will give. We give guidance. We give structure. We give guidance, and we help you navigate this crazy maze. There's next one. Oh, okay. So now it's separated into the grids. There we go. There we go. Now here's 1 through 9 circled. If you'll notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It snakes its way through. And then to get to 10, you just come back up to this square. 11, 12, 13, 14. So if we were to do that exercise again, another 14 seconds, I guess, because that's what my timer had. And I would ask you to do that again. How high do you think you'd be able to go? There we go. Exactly. Skilled real estate agent like Randy here. He's been, you see, you said the other day, like 27 years been, but you're just kind of coming back. You 17? Oh, there's a 7 in there. He left for a little bit, now he's coming back. I don't know. I think that's what he said a few days ago. So that's a value of us real estate agents. You can go at it your own. Go for it. Go at it your own. That's fine. I know that people have, and they do, whether you're buying or selling. But if you'll let one of us agents help you out, that's what we're here for. We're here to help. That's what I structure my whole life around, is helping and serving. And I know almost every realtor that I've met is the same way. Listing agent in Cedar City isn't like that. Just kidding. No, he's a good guy, actually. Alrighty. Now we're going to talk about loans. Give it over to Jake.
Appreciate it. Give it up for Caden and Cameron. Which way do we go here? Nope, we're not doing that one. All right, so as it says here, Jake Butler. I would do work at Aries Mortgage. Probably have never heard of it. Reason being is we're a small little brokerage that actually offices out of Keller Williams here upstairs. Just because we're small doesn't mean, we're inexperienced or don't know what we're doing. Raise of hands. Does anybody know what a mortgage broker is versus just a standard loan officer? Yeah. Do you care to share, or do you want me to do it? Yeah, why not? Exactly right. Yeah. So instead of you doing the shopping, we do it for you. Us personally, we're registered with 25 different lending companies. So 25 different opportunities to have a better rate, a better program, something unique that you might not see elsewhere. I think somebody over here mentioned you didn't want to do the work yourself. Was that you? Yeah. So same kind of idea here. Things that we'll cover probably really quickly. No, you're fine. We got about 15 minutes, but I also want to give you guys time to ask me questions, because that's usually where we get the most benefit out of this. So comparing options, we kind of already just talked about it. Broker versus a retail or bank loan officer. Pre-qualify versus pre-approve. I think that's on our list here. Employment income and credit. Some of this stuff, kind of like Cameron said, if you have something very specific, let's chat afterwards and see if we can get kind of drill down on your question. Common loan programs, down payments, whether that's assistance or how much you need, stuff like that. And by the way, as Cameron said, if there's any questions as we're going along, stop me and let me know. Okay. What do you think? Should you be encouraged to shop with multiple lending companies? Is that fair? I would agree with you, and I actually prefer when people come to shop with me. I think I was talking to somebody about this before, and it's not because I think I'm always going to get the business. I just think it's a good thing to keep everybody honest. Whether somebody's better than me at a specific program or vice versa, I believe there's a lot of value in that. And so, if you come to shop with me or with another lender, hopefully it helps you get a better situation, a better rate, better loan program, any of that stuff. So I highly encourage it. Mostly shop with me, but no kidding. Just definitely shop regardless. It's only going to benefit you. I would say a caveat to that is do it before you get under contract to buy the home. But once you're under contract, there's deadlines and things that you're going to run into that you don't want to stress about that and trying to find the better deal, chasing the better deal. If the numbers make sense, you're probably not going to find a situation that's a ton better or a ton different. Kind of just stick with what you got at that point. Okay, a mortgage broker versus a regular loan officer. Biggest thing here is we're able to shop with multiple lenders, just like this gentleman said here. Typically means we're going to get, on average, a better interest rate for you or find a more unique program. Not that the other loan officers are bad, but they're just kind of stuck to what their own company offers, so to speak. And maybe that works for you, maybe it doesn't, but give yourself, a chance to look at other options is kind of the point there. All right, pre-qualification versus pre-approval. This might not answer the full question about the pre-approval process, but it should give you an idea. So this, in my opinion, and maybe another loan officer might have a different opinion, but pre-qualification to me, they sound the same, but that means we just had a conversation. So very surface level, you told me a little bit about what you do, how much money you make, what your down payment that you're working with is, things like that. It's going to give me an idea on what you might qualify for, but it's not information that gives me enough to give you a pre-approval letter to have you go out and start making offers on houses. Versus a pre-approval, we're having that conversation, but we're also having you fill out an application, at the very least doing a soft credit check, getting all your paperwork in, and fully analyzing your situation and saying, you are pre-approved at 500,000. That's what your limit is. You want to go shop, stay there or less. So it gives you a much more thorough idea of what you can actually do. Any questions on that? Yeah.
Your credit score is going to drop.
Okay. Good question. They do not. So a soft credit check, these have become more popular in the last 2 or 3 years. And it's for that reason specifically, because most people are going to be protective of their credit, and rightfully so. We want an idea of being able to see what it's going to take to pre-approve you without having you worry about, is my score going to take a hit? A side note that if you do have a hard credit check done, it's typically not going to impact your score all that much. If you see your credit score plummet after somebody pulls it, it's not typically just that caused the drop. There's usually some other factors in there. But that being said, I still like to do soft credit checks, just because it gives us mostly the same information and it's not going to impact your credit score. So good question. Yeah. The soft pull? Oh, the pre-approval. You're going to get varying information on this too, but really it's kind of indefinite in a way. I'd say if it's been 2 or 3 months and you still haven't bought a place, but you're still shopping, we probably want to reevaluate, maybe do another soft credit pull or just check in to see if you've changed jobs, done any of those major financial decisions we talked about that would impact whether or not you still qualify. And as long as nothing major has changed, then we kind of just reissue a pre-approval letter at that point. question. Any other questions? You had questions about the pre-approval. Did you have anything that you wanted to add or ask me? Okay. 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 No worries. I mean, it'll kind of give you the step-by-step here, but we can chat about it later. Application, review the documents, run credit. This AUS approval is an automated approval system that we run the files through to make sure that not just we think that you're okay to purchase a house, but the automated underwriting system agrees as well. All right, pillars of qualifying. So things that we're typically looking for when we're trying to get you prepared or as we're getting you pre-approved. So we'll talk about your income. So what you're currently doing, how you're paid, things like that. Debt obligations. This is all the consumer debt that you have. So anything that reports to credit is what we're evaluating. It doesn't take into account your cell phone bill or your utilities or anything like that. It's things like your credit cards, auto loans, personal loans, student loans, anything that's going to report to credit that has a minimum payment. With that, we'll look at your credit profile and your credit score to determine if you're good where you're at, or if we can talk about making some tweaks and some improvements. And then we'll talk about down payment, whether you have one, if you need help finding one, that sort of thing. Any questions here? Okay. So I could talk forever about these loan programs, but just so you're familiar with what they are, at least surface level, there's a few different options. So conventional, which is one that most people are familiar with, FHA loans and VA loans. And then we've got a USDA loan, rural housing. It's not as popular around here just because there's not as many areas that are considered rural. Now, if you're trying to buy, south of Payson or in Tooele County somewhere, something like that, this might apply. But for the most part, unless you're a veteran, you're going to be talking conventional or FHA on the loan program. This is a pretty common question I get with first-time buyers specifically. Down payment assistance and grant options. So there's a bunch of them listed here, and we probably go into more detail on a personal level, talking about your specific situation, but they are available. Just because you're a first-time home buyer doesn't always mean you qualify for them necessarily. There's some other factors in there, but it's something that we can look at. So whether it's this Utah housing program, or if it's a city or area specific type of a grant program, it's something that we can look at for you if you need it. Any questions here? Okay. So this is a common one I get as well. How can I increase my buying power or the affordability, which is something that we touched on at the beginning? A few different ways. So you've got having an ADU, which is a rental unit, so commonly known as a mother-in-law apartment. As long as it's a legal rentable space, we can use that to help you qualify for more home. But what it also does is it helps the affordability. So if you have somebody paying a portion of your mortgage payment every month, it then means that your portion is more affordable. So this is a pretty common one, also known as house hacking. I think we do a class on that as well. Adding a cosigner. So this one's pretty common as well. Just finding somebody who's willing to co-sign on the loan with you, whether they're going to live with you or not. It's a way to increase the buying power. You just got to find somebody that is willing to kind of go out on a limb for you, so to speak, and know that you're going to make the payment so that they're not on the hook for it. But adding a cosigner is a way to increase purchasing power. We can find other creative sources of income. So sometimes people don't think of these just because it's not a normal job, but Social Security income, whatever the situation is, we can use pensions, child support, alimony, things like that. Asking for gift funds. So this would be if somebody needs help with a down payment and maybe the down payment assistant or grant option isn't the most favorable route, we can see if there's somebody willing to gift the money for some or all of the down payment to help you qualify for the house. And then finally, improving credit. So there could be such, oh yeah, question? Yeah.
There are.
Mhm.
And use it as for their down.
Correct. So what she's talking about is seller concessions, and it's a credit from the seller negotiated on your behalf by the buyer's agent. And we can use those strategically to go towards decreasing the interest rate, which can help out with affordability as well, or helping you qualify where you might otherwise not. Does that make sense? Any questions, follow up to that? Good point. That's a misstep. We should have had that on here. Come on, AI. It was AI. Okay, and then just yeah, I go improving credit. So, the higher your credit score, the greater potential you have for the interest rates to be lower as well. Or you might have access to different loan programs that could then lower your payment, be more affordable, help you qualify higher. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, the grant.
The grant programs. Both. I mean, sometimes there's grant programs that I'm not familiar with or aware of. If it's like a super specific one to a city or something like that, I may not always be aware of them. But I can help find them if it's something that we need. That usually just takes a quick Google search. Now, finding them is one thing, making sure you qualify for them or they're available, that's the other thing. So reading through all of the fine print and making sure that it actually fits your scenario is something you probably want help with. More than likely. So that's where we would come in, kind of comb through what the details are of it and point out things that may make you not qualify or just for you to be aware of. So that's a good point. Yeah. I think that was it.
Yeah, what questions do you have for Jake about loans?
Don't make it easy on me.
Yeah, throw something hard at him. Not a phone. Oh, both of you.
I was ready.
Like father,
Father and son.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, then let me end with a little story of kind of where to go from here. So I've been in real estate for like 12 years or something. And a while back, let's see, 2019 probably, my brother-in-law called me and he said, I want to buy a house. I said, finally, I've been talking to you for years. He was living in my in-laws' basement and he's like, I want to buy a house. I said, okay, let's get you pre-approved. He's like, no, 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 no. I want to buy a house in 3 years. And I said, all right, walk me through your plan. And he's like, well, I can save up a little more for a down payment because he had some saved, but not a lot, right? You can get 3.5% down, 5%. There's a lot of different options for lower down payments, but he's like, I could get more of a down payment. I think I could qualify for more. I think I'm going to get a promotion. My wife's going to graduate college and she'll get a job, and then we'll be able to qualify for way more and get actually a better house. I said, I love that. Why don't we have you talk to a lender to get a plan in place? So 3 years from today, you're like on the path to qualify for the most amount of money possible. He called the lender, it's actually Jake's partner, Eric, and said, here's all my info and here's what we want to do. And Eric said, oh, you can buy a house right now for $400,000. And he's like, oh, really? I didn't think I could do that. And we went out, we found a house for less than $400,000. He bought it. And then who knows what happened to housing prices in 2020 and 2021? They went up. If you remember the chart, it was like 20% each year. So a $400,000 house after 20% appreciation is 480. Am I doing math right? And then 20% of that is now 570 almost. It jumps like crazy. So if he would have waited and lived his 3-year plan, the market would have kicked him out and said, nope, now homes are too expensive. You didn't save up enough down payment. But because he just took the time and got pre-qualified, he wasn't even going to pull his credit or anything. He was just going to start the conversation to make sure he was on the right path. He found out that he could actually qualify for a great house, great neighborhood, everything. He still lives there today and he hates it and he's ready to move. So we're talking about changing houses. I was like, sounds like you should talk to a lender. And he's ready for that. But so we didn't know that home prices would jump up a whole bunch. We didn't know what the future held. We didn't know COVID was even going to happen. You never know what's going to happen in the future. The only thing you know is right now. If you're thinking, maybe I should buy a house, let's get you talking to a lender and down that path, because you can always stop, right? You can talk to the lender and the lender will say, there's no grant programs we know of. You don't have a down payment. You have awful credit. You don't make any money. I sent a buyer to Jake who literally doesn't have a job right now. And he's like, let's go look at houses. I'm like, let's get a job first. But he's going down the pathway and talking to Jake, so he kind of knows what he can do. And as soon as he gets a job that makes enough, he's ready to make an offer and he can jump into it. So first step, don't be scared. It's not going to hurt you at all to just have the conversation to see how far down this pathway can I go. And then if it makes sense, you can keep going down it. Like Hayden said, at any point you can be like, whoa, this is not good. Let's back out. And we're okay with that. So just take the little step, see if it makes sense for you and see if it's the best case for you. If it is, great. If it's not, go back, we can wait, and you can get on that 3-year plan or whatever else feels natural or comfortable to you. So from here, if you have more questions, we're going to hang out afterwards. Jake's going to be here. I'm going to be here. Come ask us questions, ask your agent questions, and then start doing those little things. Whatever you need to do to keep moving forward to buying that house, getting that dream. So there's more pizza in the back. Grab some pizza before you leave. Thanks, everyone.